Secondary activities. Unit 3. Chapter-6. Secondary activities. All economic activities, namely primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary, revolve around obtaining and utilizing resources necessary for survival. Secondary activities add value to natural resources by transforming raw materials into valuable products. Cotton in the bowl has limited use, but after it is transformed into yarn, becomes more valuable and can be used for making clothes. Iron ore cannot be used directly from the mines, but after being converted into steel it gets its value and can be used for making many valuable machines, tools, etc. The same is true of most of the materials from the farm, forest, mine and the sea. Secondary activities, therefore, are concerned with manufacturing, processing and construction infrastructure. Industries. Manufacturing. Manufacturing involves a full array of production, from handicrafts to molding iron and steel and stamping out plastic toys to assembling delicate computer components or space vehicles. In each of these processes, the common characteristics are the application of power, mass production of identical products, and specialized labor in factory settings for the production of standardized commodities. Manufacturing may be done with modern power and machinery, or it may still be very primitive. Most of the third world countries still manufacture, in the literal sense of the term. It is difficult to present a full picture of all the manufacturers in these countries. More emphasis is given to the kind of industrial activity which involves less complicated systems of production. Characteristics of modern large-scale manufacturing. Modern large-scale manufacturing has the following characteristics. Specialization of skills, methods of production. Under the craft method, factories produce only a few pieces which are made to order. So the costs are high. On the other hand, mass production involves production of large quantities of standardized parts by each worker performing only one task repeatedly. Manufacturing industry and manufacturing industry. Manufacturing literally means to make by hand. However, now it includes goods made by machines. It is essentially a process which involves transforming raw materials into finished goods of higher value for sale in local or distant markets. Conceptually, an industry is a geographically located manufacturing unit maintaining books of accounts and records under a management system. As the term industry is comprehensive, it is also used as synonymous with manufacturing. When one uses terms like steel industry and chemical industry, one thinks of factories and processes. But there are many secondary activities which are not carried on in factories, such as what is now called the entertainment industry and tourism industry, etc. So for clarity, the longer expression, manufacturing industry, is used. Mechanization. Mechanization refers to using gadgets which accomplish tasks. Automation, without aid of human thinking during the manufacturing process, is the advanced stage of mechanization. Automatic factories with feedback and closed-loop computer control systems where machines are developed to think have sprung up all over the world. Technological innovation. Technological innovations through research and development strategy are an important aspect of modern manufacturing for quality control, eliminating waste and inefficiency, and combating pollution. Organizational structure and stratification. Modern manufacturing is characterized by a complex machine technology. Extreme specialization and division of labor for producing more goods with less effort and low costs. Vast capital. Large organizations. Executive bureaucracy. Uneven geographic distribution. Major concentrations of modern manufacturing have flourished in a few number of places. These cover less than 10% of the world's land area. These nations have become the centers of economic and political power. However, in terms of the total area covered, manufacturing sites are much less conspicuous and concentrated on much smaller areas than that of agriculture due to greater intensity of processes. For example, 2.5 square kilometers of the American Corn Belt usually includes about 4 large farms employing about 10 to 20 workers supporting 50 to 100 persons. But this same area could contain several large integrated factories and employ thousands of workers. Why do large-scale industries choose different locations? Industries maximize profits by reducing costs. Therefore, industries should be located at points where the production costs are minimum. Some of the factors influencing industrial locations are as under. Access to market. The existence of a market for manufactured goods is the most important factor in the location of industries. Market means people who have a demand for these goods and also have the purchasing power, ability to purchase. To be able to purchase from the sellers at a place. Remote areas inhabited by a few people offer small markets. The developed regions of Europe, North America, Japan, and Australia provide large global markets as the purchasing power of the people is very high. The densely populated regions of South and Southeast Asia also provide large markets. Some industries, such as aircraft manufacturing, have a global market. The arms industry also has global markets. Access to raw material. Raw material used by industries should be cheap and easy to transport. Industries based on cheap, bulky, and weight-losing material ores are located close to the sources of raw materials such as steel, sugar, and cement industries. Perishability is a vital factor for the industry to be located closer to the source of the raw material. Agro-processing and dairy products are processed close to the sources of farm produce or milk supply respectively. Access to labor supply. Labor supply is an important factor in the location of industries. Some types of manufacturing still require skilled labor. Increasing mechanization, automation, and flexibility of industrial processes have reduced the dependence of industry upon the labors. Access to sources of energy. Industries which use more power are located close to the source of the energy supply, such as the aluminium industry. Earlier, coal was the main source of energy. Today, hydroelectricity and petroleum are also important sources of energy for many industries. Access to transportation and communication facilities. Speedy and efficient transport facilities to carry raw materials to the factory and to move finished goods to the market are essential for the development of industries. The cost of transport plays an important role in the location of industrial units. Western Europe and Eastern North America have a highly developed transport system which has always induced the concentration of industries in these areas. Modern industry is inseparably tied to transportation systems. Improvements in transportation led to integrated economic development and regional specialization of manufacturing. Communication is also an important need for industries for the exchange and management of information. Government policy. Governments adopt regional policies to promote balanced economic development and hence set up industries in particular areas. Access to agglomeration economies, links between industries. Many industries benefit from nearness to a leader industry and other industries. These benefits are termed as agglomeration economies. Savings are derived from the linkages which exist between different industries. These factors operate together to determine industrial location. Footloose industries. Footloose industries can be located in a wide variety of places. They are not dependent on any specific raw material, weight losing or otherwise. They largely depend on component parts which can be obtained anywhere. They produce in small quantity and also employ a small labor force. These are generally not polluting industries. The important factor in their location is accessibility by road network. Classification of manufacturing industries. Manufacturing industries are classified on the basis of their size, inputs, raw materials, output, products, and ownership. Fig. 6.1. Fig. 6.1. Classification of industries. Industries based on size. The amount of capital invested, number of workers employed, and volume of production determine the size of industry. Accordingly, industries may be classified into household or cottage, small scale, and large scale. Household industries or cottage manufacturing. It is the smallest manufacturing unit. The artisans use local raw materials and simple tools to produce everyday goods in their homes with the help of their family members or part-time labor. Finished products may be for consumption in the same household or for sale in local village markets or for barter. Capital and transportation do not wield much influence as this type of manufacturing has low commercial significance and most of the tools are devised locally. Some common everyday products produced in the sector of manufacturing include foodstuffs, fabrics, mats, containers, tools, furniture, shoes, and figurines from wood, lot and forest, shoes, thongs and other articles from leather, pottery and bricks from clays and stones. Goldsmiths make jewelry of gold, silver and bronze. Some artifacts and crafts are made out of bamboo, wood obtained locally from the forests. Small-scale manufacturing. Small-scale manufacturing is distinguished from household industries by its production techniques and place of manufacture, a workshop outside the home cottage of the producer. This type of manufacturing uses local raw material, simple power-driven machines and semi-skilled labor. It provides employment and raises local purchasing power. Therefore, countries like India, China, Indonesia and Brazil, etc., have developed labor-intensive small-scale manufacturing in order to provide employment to their population. Fig. 6.3. Products of cottage industry on sale in Assam. Large-scale manufacturing. Large-scale manufacturing involves a large market, various raw materials, enormous energy, specialized workers, advanced technology, assembly line, mass production and large capital. This kind of manufacturing developed in the last 200 years in the United Kingdom, northeastern USA, and Europe. Now it has diffused to almost all over the world. On the basis of the system of large-scale manufacturing, the world's major industrial regions may be grouped under two broad types, namely I. Traditional large-scale industrial regions which are thickly clustered in a few more developed countries. E. High-technology large-scale industrial regions which have diffused to less developed countries. Fig. 6.4. Passenger car assembly hires at a plant of the motor company in Japan. Industries based on inputs, raw materials. On the basis of the raw materials used, the industries are classified as A. Agro-based, B. Mineral-based, C. Chemical-based, D. Forest-based, and A. Animal-based. A. Agro-based industries. Agro-processing involves the processing of raw materials from the field and the farm into finished products for rural and urban markets. Major agro-processing industries are food processing, sugar, pickles, fruits, juices, beverages, tea, coffee and cocoa, spices and oils, fats and textiles, cotton, jute, silk, rubber, etc. Food processing. Agro-processing includes canning, producing cream, fruit processing and confectionery. While some preserving techniques, such as drying, fermenting and pickling, have been known since ancient times, these had limited applications to cater to the pre-industrial revolution demands. Fig. 6.5. Tea garden and a tea factory in the Nilgiri hills of Tamil Nadu. Agribusiness is commercial farming on an industrial scale, often financed by business whose main interests lie outside agriculture, for example, large corporations in tea plantation business. Agribusiness farms are mechanized, large in size, highly structured, reliant on chemicals, and may be described as agro-factories. B. Mineral-based industries. These industries use minerals as a raw material. Some industries use ferrous metallic minerals which contain ferrous iron, such as iron and steel industries, but some use non-ferrous metallic minerals, such as aluminium, copper and jewelry industries. Many industries use non-metallic minerals such as cement and pottery industries. C. Chemical-based industries. Such industries use natural chemical minerals, e.g. mineral oil, petroleum is used in petrochemical industry. Salts, sulfur and potash industries also use natural minerals. Chemical industries are also based on raw materials obtained from wood and coal. Synthetic fiber, plastic, etc. are other examples of chemical-based industries. D. Forest-based raw material using industries. The forests provide many major and minor products which are used as raw material. Timber for furniture industry, wood, bamboo and grass for paper industry, lac for lac industries come from forests. Fig. 6.6. A pulp mill in the heart of the Ketchikan's timber area of Alaska. A. Animal-based industries. Leather for leather industry and wool for woolen textiles are obtained from animals. Besides, ivory is also obtained from elephant tusks. Industries based on output product. You have seen some machines and tools made of iron or steel. The raw material for such machines and tools is iron and steel, which is itself an industry. The industry whose products are used to make other goods by using them as raw materials are basic industries. Can you identify the links? Iron, steel. Machines for textile industry. Clothes for use by consumers. The consumer goods industries produced goods which are consumed by consumers directly. For example, industries producing breads and biscuits, tea, soaps and toiletries, paper for writing, televisions, etc. are consumer goods or non-basic industries. Industries based on ownership. A. Public sector industries are owned and managed by governments. In India, there were a number of public sector undertakings PSUs. Socialist countries have many state-owned industries. Mixed economies have both public and private sector enterprises. B. Private sector industries are owned by individual investors. These are managed by private organizations. In capitalist countries, industries are generally owned privately. C. Joint sector industries are managed by joint stock companies, or sometimes the private and public sectors together establish and manage the industries. Can you make a list of such industries? Traditional large-scale industrial regions. These are based on heavy industry, often located near coal fields and engaged in metal smelting, heavy engineering, chemical manufacture or textile production. These industries are now known as smokestack industries. Traditional industrial regions can be recognized by high proportion of employment in manufacturing industry, high density housing, often of inferior type, and poor services. Unattractive environment, for example pollution, waste heaps, and so on. Problems of unemployment, emigration and derelict land areas caused by closure of factories because of a worldwide fall in demand. The Ruhr coal field, Germany. This has been one of the major industrial regions of Europe for a long time. Coal and iron and steel formed the basis of the economy, but as the demand for coal declined, the industry started shrinking. Even after the iron ore was exhausted, the industry remained, using imported ore brought by waterways to the Ruhr. The Ruhr region is responsible for 80% of Germany's total steel production. Changes in the industrial structure have led to the decay of some areas, and there are problems of industrial waste and pollution. The future prosperity of the Ruhr is based less on the products of coal and steel, for which it was initially famous, and more on the new industries like the huge Opel car assembly plant, new chemical plants, universities. Out-of-town shopping centers have appeared, resulting in a new Ruhr landscape. Iron and steel industry. The iron and steel industry forms the base of all other industries and, therefore, it is called a basic industry. It is basic because it provides raw material for other industries such as machine tools used for further production. It may also be called a heavy industry because it uses large quantities of bulky raw materials and its products are also heavy. Iron is extracted from iron ore by smelting in a blast furnace with carbon coke and limestone. The molten iron is cooled and molded to form pig iron, which is used for converting into steel by adding strengthening materials like manganese. The large integrated steel industry is traditionally located close to the sources of raw materials iron ore, coal, manganese and limestone, or at places where these could be easily brought, e.g. near ports. But in many steel mills, access to markets is more important than inputs. These are less expensive to build and operate and can be located near markets because of the abundance of scrap metal, which is the main input. Traditionally, most of the steel was produced at large integrated plants, but many mills are limited to just one-step process steel making and are gaining ground. Distribution. The industry is one of the most complex and capital-intensive industries and is concentrated in the advanced countries of North America, Europe and Asia. In USA, most of the production comes from the North Appalachian region, Pittsburgh, Great Lake region, Chicago, Gary, Erie, Cleveland, Lorain, Buffalo and Duluth, and the Atlantic coast, Sparrows Point and Morrisville. The industry has also moved towards the southern state of Alabama. Pittsburgh area is now losing ground. It has now become the Rust Bowl of USA. In Europe, UK, Germany, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, the Netherlands and Russia are the leading producers. The important steel centers are Scunthorpe, Port Talbot, Birmingham and Sheffield in the UK. Duisburg, Dortmund, Düsseldorf and Essen in Germany. Le Croisot and Est. Etienne in France. And Moscow, Est. Petersburg, Lipetsk, Tula in Russia and Kryvyi Rog and Donetsk in Ukraine. In Asia, the important centers include Nagasaki and Tokyo, Yokohama in Japan, Shanghai, Tianjin and Wuhan in China, and Jamshedpur, Kulti, Burnpur, Durgapur, Rourkela, Bhilai, Bokaro, Salem, Vishakhapatnam and Bhadravati in India. Consult your atlas to locate these places centers. Cotton textile industry. Cotton textile industry has three sub-sectors, i.e. handloom, powerloom and mill sectors. Handloom sector is labor-intensive and provides employment to semi-skilled workers. It requires small capital investment. Why did Mahatma Gandhi propagate Khadi as part of the independence movement? This sector involves spinning, weaving and finishing of the fabrics. The powerloom sector introduces machines and becomes less labor-intensive and the volume of production increases. Cotton textile mill sector is highly capital-intensive and produces fine clothes in bulk. Cotton textile manufacturing requires good quality cotton as raw material. India, China, USA, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Egypt produce more than half of the world's raw cotton. The UK, NW, European countries and Japan also produce cotton textile made from imported yarn. Europe alone accounts for nearly half of the world's cotton imports. The industry has to face very stiff competition with synthetic fibers, hence it has now shown a declining trend in many countries. With the scientific advancement and technological improvements, the structure of industries changes. For example, Germany recorded constant growth in cotton textile industry since Second World War till the 70s, but now it has declined. It has shifted to less developed countries where labor costs are low. Concept of high technology industry. High technology, or simply high tech, is the latest generation of manufacturing activities. It is best understood as the application of intensive research and development (R&D) efforts leading to the manufacture of products of an advanced scientific and engineering character. Professional, white-collar workers make up a large share of the total workforce. These highly skilled specialists greatly outnumber the actual production blue-collar workers. Robotics on the assembly line, computer-aided design (CAD), and manufacturing, electronic controls of smelting and refining processes, and the constant development of new chemical and pharmaceutical products are notable examples of a high-tech industry. Neatly spaced, low, modern, dispersed office plant lab buildings rather than massive assembly structures, factories and storage areas mark the high-tech industrial landscape. Planned business parks for high-tech startups have become part of regional and local development schemes. High-tech industries which are regionally concentrated, self-sustained and highly specialized are called technopoles. The Silicon Valley near San Francisco and Silicon Forest near Seattle are examples of technopoles. Are some technopoles developing in India? Manufacturing contributes significantly to the world economy. Iron and steel, textiles, automobiles, petrochemicals and electronics are some of the world's most important manufacturing industries. Exercises. 8. Choose the right answer from the 4 alternatives given below. I. Which one of the following statements is wrong? A. Cheap water transport has facilitated the jute mill industry along the Hooghly. B. Sugar, cotton, textiles and vegetable oils are footloose industries. C. The development of hydroelectricity and petroleum reduced, to a great extent, the importance of coal energy as a locational factor for industry. D. Port towns in India have attracted industries. E. In which one of the following types of economy are the factors of production owned individually? A. Capitalist. C. Socialist. B. Mixed. D. None. E. Which one of the following types of industries produces raw materials for other industries? A. Cottage industries. C. Basic industries. B. Small scale industries. D. Footloose industries. If. Which one of the following pairs is correctly matched? A. Automobile industry, Los Angeles. B. Shipbuilding industry, Lusaka. C. Aircraft industry, Florence. D. Iron and steel industry, Pittsburgh. Do. Write a short note on the following in about 30 words. I. High-tech industry. E. Manufacturing. E. Footloose industries. Teen. Answer the following in not more than 150 words. I. Differentiate between primary and secondary activities. E. Discuss the major trends of modern industrial activities, especially in the developed countries of the world. E. Explain why high-tech industries in many countries are being attracted to the peripheral areas of major metropolitan centers. If Africa has immense natural resources and yet it is industrially the most backward continent. Comment. Project activity. I. Carry out a survey in your school premises of the factory-made goods used by students and the staff. E. Find out the meaning of the terms biodegradable and non-biodegradable. Which kind of material is better to use? Why? E. Look around and make a list of the global brands, their logos and products.